Hello Exiles, and this is Fusion Gaming, and welcome to my next video on my League Content Guide series. Today I introduce you to Nico, and he introduced Delve into the game. Now Delve is a infinite mine that you can obviously dig down ever deeper and obviously try and get as deep as you can. And basically it's a near infinite azurite mine dungeon. Now obviously you would run through the mine with your crawler, as you can see here, which then provides you with light, and obviously then you can kill monsters whilst in the light. If you want to venture into the darkness, then you are going to need flares and you are going to need dynamite to be able to try and open up particular passageways and obviously be able to see, because whilst you're in the darkness you can die. There is a darkness element of like a resistance, which you can obviously influence on the upgrade machine back in the mine encampment, but we will go into that in a little bit further detail. There's the machine, by the way. Now the mine itself obviously will also provide you with fossils, which is a new way of crafting. So those are fossils, and resonators were introduced into the game, and they obviously went core. And there is also 3 bosses that were also introduced into the game as end game bosses. Now these bosses can be particularly hard depending on what depth you try to kill them at, but they all have their own specific drop pool and they can be quite profitable. Now the first one being Ahutali the Blind, who is this one, the red one here, who is in a Vaal temple. We then have Ul the Crystal King, who is usually in the Primeval Ruins. And then we also have Kurgle the Black Blooded. Now Kurgle is only shown in the trailer for a very brief second, right near the end of the trailer, in green. But Delve was a very good mechanic that was introduced, and there are still people now that will try and delve as deep as they can to try and get about 10,000 lower and try and get to 20,000 if you can push your build that deep. Now what we're going to be discussing today is we're going to go a little bit more in depth into Delve, how you can get it into your maps, how you can influence it, how you can obviously make a bit of money from it, obviously what sort of drops do you get, things like that. Now if you don't know who I am, obviously, and you don't know what this channel is, and you've just stumbled across this video, then I do a lot of build guide or League content guide series. I've done many videos last year in terms of helping you try and get to maps. I did some build guide videos this league, so we did a Penance Brand, we did an Arikali's Fang, we did a Frostblink of Wintry Blast build, and most recently I just did one of the fastest mapping builds in the game, which was a Frostblink Poet's Pen build. If you've not seen that video, I will put a link to the video in the video now, so you can go and have a watch of it if you want. But in terms of Delve, it's a very fun mechanic. It is very difficult depending on how far down you go, but overall the rewards can be very rewarding and very profitable depending on how deep you go. So before we crack on, if you like any of these videos and you are enjoying this League Content Guide series, throw us a like, throw us a subscribe. I'm going to be doing every single piece of League content all the way up until the new League launch, which is obviously announced by GGG the other day, is going to be at least another month away. So we've got more than enough time to go through all of these videos. Plus I am going to be doing the Act 10 series guide again. So we're going to go through all 10 acts day by day, and we're going to go through the fastest way to get through these zones, and that will be published later on through the month. So let's begin. So in essence, Delve is literally just one big mine that you can infinitely go down and down and down, and obviously try and get the most out of the rewards. Now as you go deeper and deeper, the rewards do get better and better. Now just to take it back to basics, obviously the mine itself is controlled, and obviously you would run around the actual mine via way of a crawler. Now the crawler itself provides light around it, and you can obviously influence the radius of that light via the upgrade machine in the encampment. But if you want to venture into the darkness, and obviously you want to try and get more rewards along the path, then you are going to have to then buy flares and dynamite. Now, as you can see on screen here, this is the upgrade machine. I've put it on screen just for a few more seconds so you can actually see it. But this is how you would obviously then be upgrading your flares and your dynamite. Is you're going to buy more quantities, you can upgrade the radius and also increase the duration. Now, obviously that is essential for you to be able to stay alive within the delve, just because when you actually put down the flare, it then means that all monsters that you then attack are then actually killable, because if you go to try and kill them within the darkness, you cannot do any damage to them. So you do need a flare to be able to help you. Additionally to that, you do need to obviously buy dynamite, because if you do come across any fractured walls, then you can blow them apart with dynamite. In terms of the actual cart itself, you can also increase the radius of the light on the cart, and you can also increase your own resistance of the dark. Now that obviously can be quite expensive, and you can also increase the amount of sulfite that you can gather whilst you're in your maps, which we will go through in a minute. That is obviously a way that you can increase it. You can increase the quantity of how much you can have. So you start at, I think it's around about 1200, and it goes up to, I think it goes up to something stupid like 50,000-60,000. But from what I learned from delving videos that I have seen, there is no point going over 50,000, because 50,000 will keep you down there for at least an hour to two, depending on how deep you are in the depths of delve. So that is the basics. Obviously you have more chance to be able to see fossils behind fractured walls, but also there are a lot more fossil nodes the deeper that you go within delve. Once you start going down and down and deeper, the fossil chance of them appearing more often is better quality, which means that you'll then get better fossils, more quantity of resonators, and maybe the higher quality resonators where you can put 4 fossils in rather than 2, 3 or 1. So what we will discuss now is we will discuss how you can actually obtain sulfite within your maps, and obviously how you can then basically get the most out of delve within your maps. So let's talk about how you can actually get Nico into your maps. So as always, you can do it via using scarabs. So there is obviously the rusted and polished, gilded and winged. Now as you can imagine, you get more and more sulfite depending on which variant you do. So if you was to go for the top end whack and you was to go for the winged, you would get 100% more sulfite. So you would literally be doubling your sulfite, and then as you go down, you then go 60, 40 and 20. So if you just wanted a little bit of a boost and you've got a few gilded or a few polished, it's always best just to slap these in. It will give you a little bit more. Obviously this does guarantee that Nico will be in your area, and it then provides you with more sulfite. Now there are other ways to include Nico, so obviously he is a master, but you've got to bear in mind that that will not influence the amount of sulfite that you get in your maps. Now if you want to make it as fast as possible, because most delvers do not want to be out of delve for longer than necessary. They will literally open 3 regular maps, slap in a scarab, and they may slap in something else. And sometimes they'll run it as a group to try and get as much sulfite as they can, but they literally just want to run in, get the sulfite nodes, and jump out. Open the next map. They don't care about the loot, they don't care about the mob, the monsters, they don't care about the boss. They will, any of the mechanics, they'll just run in, get the sulfite, get out. So if that is what you're planning on achieving, then I would recommend not using Nico on here, and I would recommend not using Nico as a sextant, because you will not get any benefit from the 60%, 40%, 100% more sulfite, which is what you want. As always, you can also influence it by using your Atlas tree. Now straight off the bat, as soon as you start going into maps, there is a node here that then does provide you with increased sulfite within your maps. There is also a 4% chance to grant Nico on completion, which you're not really that bothered about. It's more for the increased sulfite. That is what you want to try and go for on the map. Obviously once you have then done that, there is a node on the right here which you can then get. Now this one is particularly good because it says here +1 to all maximum elemental resistances for each sulfite vein or chest within your map. So if typically there is 3, they're usually 3, then you will get +3 to the maximum amount of resistances. So it instantly makes you tankier. Also increased damage for every vein found in your found in your maps, and increased movement speed for every single vein. So if you took this, you would literally have an extra 45% increased movement speed that you can then run around the map and get what you need and get back out again. So if you want to get in and out of maps fast, then this node is pretty much perfect and you want to try and get it as soon as possible. Every single one of these provides you with an increased chance for Nico. Again, we're not that bothered about. It's more the blue ones, gives you increased sulfite. The bottom one here has a 5% chance to deal double sulfite, which is always brilliant. And they are guarded by sulfite hoarding monsters. So it's a case of that if you want to kill them, you can do. After that, there is the next node up here, which then does provide you with a 10% chance to provide you with an equal amount of azurite rather than sulfite. So if you click on the sulfite node and it gives you 4,000 sulfite, there is a 10% chance that you may then get 4,000 azurite, which is massive. That will help you with upgrading. Again, all of these give you an extra 3% increased sulfite, which is always a bonus. The last one then is up here. This does then provide you with an increased amount of additional sulfite on completion. Now that is if you complete the map and kill the map boss. But if you're doing red tier maps or you're doing white tier maps, doesn't matter, you'll just get an additional. This is not that important because you're going to be getting that much from all of the other nodes. It's more a case of that you want to go for these to get the 3% increased sulfite. So if you want to take that, you can do, but I would say that it's not the best node to take for the extra. If you just want to run in, get the sulfite and get out, you're not going to complete the map. So you're not going to get that benefit. Other than that, though, there is no other ways of getting sulfite within your maps. Now, I'm just going to quickly go through the generator here. So on the generator here, you can upgrade your flares up to, I think it's around about 20 or 19 is the highest I've ever seen it. I've never really gone above that because, as you can see here, it starts to get quite costly. Just to get from 15 to 16 is going to cost me 18,000 azurite. So that is a little bit costly. Obviously, the Dynamite maxes out at 7. Can't get any more than that. As you can see here, the sulfite capacity, I put it to 46,000 at the moment. That could go higher, but again, it only goes up in 9,000 increments, and the next upgrade is going to cost me 33,000. So again, that is quite a lot. What you should be doing is, in terms of if you're wanting to deep delve, you want to be keeping up with these resistances and try and keep them. If you're wanting to go deep delve, which is what I mean by going like sub 5,000 depth, then there is a video that I'm going to advise you to check out, which we will then discuss that there is no point in getting any of these, because if you get hit at certain depths down there, it will just one-shot you, regardless as to whether you have this maxed out or not. Another thing to mention is that Nico here does sell items. He does sell resonators, but out of all of them, probably the one that I would probably buy is the Primitive Chaotic. It only costs 300. Now, bearing in mind, the biggest one is 3,700. I could buy 10 of these, 12 of these, in place of one of them. So it's a case of that this is better value for money. You can get more of these, and when I was playing Delve earlier on in the league, there was around about 50 divines per 50 resonators for a divine, and then it dropped to about 40, and then it dropped to about 35 at one point, and then it kind of went back up to 60. So it's kind of fluctuates. But in terms of delve down here, obviously it starts to get quite spicy. I got down to depth 535, which is decent. It's not, obviously I'm not going deep delve, but obviously I wanted to see how deep we can go. But obviously fossil nodes, obviously there's one smuggler stash here, there's a haunted tomb there. Depending on obviously the fossil node at this depth will depending on what they give you. So they'll give you particular fossils, and obviously I will provide you with a bit of a cheat sheet, which I'm going to show you in a second, of where fossils are. I'm also going to be putting a link to this website, which is PoE Wiki. On here, it does provide you with every single one, but as you can see here, look, Haunted Tomb will drop Tangled Fossils. I know that obviously the Hollow one, which is the most expensive one, drops from the Crystal Spire, but it tells you obviously the names and what drops, which fossils drop from them. Also tells you which bosses. So this is one of the bosses. So this is Ahutali. This is the Grand Architects. This is the Lich's Tomb. So this is Kurgle, and then we have Ul, which is this one, which is the Crystal King. But obviously all of these down here are all potential nodes that you can get, and it will then tell you what they will then give you. So obviously it tells you the types of rewards that you can get. Obviously here you've got azurite, cavities, gems, stashes, strong boxes, harbinger. It basically tells you everything on this. So I will put this link in the description as well, just to help you. It does also say here where the certain fossils do drop. So this is, because this is going to be a little bit more accurate, I'll probably provide a link to this this rather than a picture, just because this, I know this is up to date because the GGD developers do look after Path of Exile wiki. So this tells you all the different areas that all the fossils are obviously sat in, and all of the different areas, and it kind of gives you a bit of an image of what they look like as well. So what the type of, so Frozen Hollow is obviously always very blue and icy and very cold, and typically the image didn't work just as I was trying to show you, but yeah, it's usually in these blue areas that you want to be looking for. Now if you are wanting to deep delve, and I mean go seriously into the 5,000 sub delve, then I would recommend that you watch this video. It's a comprehensive guide to deep delve. Again, I will put a copy of this link in the description, but basically it's a gentleman called Connor Converse. He's also known as One Mana Left, but he does a 2 hours and 15-minute video here. Now he even states right here, look, I do not expect people to watch the entire video, and he has done an extensive time stamping here so that people can kind of just skip through the video if they need. Now I watched this video, I think it was around about a month and a half ago, and I watched the entire thing because I wanted to learn about delve, because before I started going into it and starting to get to 500 depth, I wanted to kind of make the most of it and where I should be going. So this video helped me massively. So if you are wanting to watch it, and Connor is he does explain a lot, and he does it in a very comprehensive manner, so I would recommend this video. So I'll be putting a link to this in the description below. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much it in terms of delve and how it is. It's a very fun mechanic. It's basically infinite. You can just keep on going until your build basically starts to fail and you start getting one shot, but that's what it's for. It's to kind of test the limit of your build. If you are a squishy build, you will not get very far. Glass cannon builds can get very far, but it's a case of that, be prepared to die. If you are a tanky build and you do decent damage, then you will get very far in it. In terms of my channel, obviously, if you want to have a look at it, obviously there's a ton of videos that I've done. The video that I was talking about earlier, the fastest mapper build is this one, this Poet's Pen one here. If you want to go and have a look at that, it was a very fun build. But as you can see, obviously I do quite a few different videos for Path of Exile. I'm due to be starting Last Epoch next Wednesday when the new league starts. I did do a reaction to it here, this video here, where I did a reaction because I've never played it. So I did a first reactions from a Path of Exile's perspective. That is going to be fun next week, so I can't wait for that. But yeah, check me out. If you like any of my videos, throw us a like, throw us a subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. So until then, stay sane, Exile.